individually, so we should be okay there. Just wanted to start out by welcoming everybody to the call and reminding you that if you get value from the calls that I do and you enjoy some of the training sessions I do, to please visit my blog site, Aim High with Keith. That's KEITH.com. It's aimhighwithkeith.com. I always post my videos I do on there, as well as other blogs that I write. Also, you will notice at the top of that page is a bar that says, one of the links on it says, subscribe to my newsletter. And if you subscribe to that, that will put you on my mailing list so I can notify you whenever we have special trainings like this. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard that having a good attitude and a strong belief in your business and setting goals, being motivated, being positive, that those are all wonderful things, and we've all heard that that's what you need to do to have success in this business. Maybe even 97% of your business, but it doesn't work very good, does it? I mean, most of us have the good attitude and the strong belief, and we set our goals, and we just don't seem to get anywhere. Well, it's that little 3%, knowing exactly what to say and what to do, that we haven't learned. That's the most important part of it. You know, people ask all the time, and so did I when I first got started, what skills do I need to learn first? And the most common one that people ask is, how do I get appointments with people? So how do you get appointments with people? How many people here have ever had a little bit of trouble getting appointments to talk to somebody? Have you guys had trouble with that? Well, people say that that they spent their entire week looking for somebody that will listen to them instead of spending their entire week giving presentations. They might also say, you know, I try to talk to my friends, but they just don't listen. Or my coworkers, they run to the other side of the office. Maybe even I bought some leads, but they don't want to talk to me. I do all these things, and nobody's going to give me an appointment. Does all that sound pretty familiar? Well, you know, it sounds like real life to me, and yeah, I've experienced those things as well. So how do you get appointments with people? Well, let's get right to work. If you were to talk to 10 people, how many of those 10 people will actually give you an appointment for a presentation? What would you guys say? Well, don't be shy out there. Okay. Anybody else? If you talk to 10 people, how many of those 10 people are going to give you an appointment? You know, all the experts out there say maybe 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, maybe if you're really good, 3 out of 10 people. Well, how many people here would be happy to get 2 out of 10 people to actually give you an appointment for a presentation? Of course, that means that 8 out of the 10 people give you a rejection, and that wouldn't be too fun, would it? But most people say 1 or 2 people out of 10 is a pretty good ratio. So if only 1 or 2 people out of 10 are giving you an appointment, what might be the reason for that? Guys, it's what we say and what we do. So if we change what we say and what we do, maybe we can change that ratio. Imagine for a moment that you can get an appointment with 5 out of every 10 people that you actually talk to. How would your business change? Our group would be 5 times bigger. We'd be more confident. What else? Let's see. We'd have a bigger paycheck. We'd have less rejection. There'd be more people at our meetings, more belief in our business. We'd have a better attitude. We'd be more motivated. We'd be positive. It'd be wonderful. How many people here would like to learn a skill where you could get 5 out of 10 people to give you an appointment for a presentation? Absolutely. Well, unfortunately tonight we're not going to cover that skill. Instead, we're going to cover a different skill. I'd like to cover tonight a skill on how you can get an appointment with almost 10 out of every 10 people that you talk to. Would that be fair enough? Then later on, if you guys want to, we can go back and we can talk about that skill that will get you 5 out of 10 if you guys really want to. So how many people here actually believe that you can get an appointment with almost 100% of the people you talk to? Sounds like we got a quiet and skeptical group here. What? Okay, that's good. Well, let me tell you what. Let's find out how to do it, and once we learn this skill, then we might say, you know what? Maybe we could do that because it sounds kind of fantastic, doesn't it? To get 10 out of 10. I mean, if you had 10 out of 10 people give you an appointment for presentation, what's going to happen? You would just go from presentation to presentation and presentation. That life would be absolutely wonderful. So let's see how we can do it. It's really a simple skill. Here's why most of us don't get 10 out of 10. It's because of what we say and what we do. And here's a typical example. Let's say I'm a brand new distributor. I'm standing right next to you, a prospect at work. We're standing at the coffee machine. We've been there maybe 3 or 4 hours. While we're sipping our coffee, I turn to you and I say, boy, do I have an opportunity for you. What's the first thing that crosses your mind? The first thing that crosses your mind is run, save yourself. Put a coworker in front of you, garlic around your neck. Maybe you say, good time for us to go back to work. It's not going to be pleasant. In other words, you're not going to be too enthusiastic. But hey, don't worry about me. It doesn't bother me because you know what? I'm motivated. I listened to a motivational tape this morning. So I continue on and I say, well, it's a great opportunity. You need to come down to this opportunity meeting at the hotel tonight. I know traffic's bad and stuff. You need to come on down. It's great. It's going to give you financial freedom. It's going to give you time freedom. You can leverage your income. Come on down. I'm thinking it's the prospect. You're thinking, no way. You're thinking, man, I really don't want to go down there. So what are you going to say? You're going to say, I'm busy. You've heard that before. I was, okay, so here I am. I'm the brand new distributor. I'm just hanging in there because it really doesn't bother me because, you know what? I listened to 2 motivational tapes this morning. I'm really motivated, so I continue on. Here's your chance to fire your boss, reach your goals, travel the world. The family would be proud of you. Here's your chance to show your love for your family, to achieve your wildest imagination, blah, blah, blah. And what are you going to say as the prospect? You're thinking, how do I get rid of this jerk? So what are you going to do? He's going to keep pestering me, so I better do something. So you say, well, but before I go down to the opportunity meeting, I need to check it out. Tell me the name of your company first. So I say, name of my company? Really can't do that. If I tell you the name of the company, you might prejudge. And you need to come on down to the meeting and see the whole thing at one time. Not just a little piece of the pie, but the whole pie. You can't prejudge. So when you get down to the meeting, then we'll tell you the name of the company. How many people are going to actually show up? But you know what? I'm still there. I've listened to 2 motivational tapes this morning, and I've read this daggone book. So you try this. Maybe this will work. Well, tell me a little bit about it first. See if I'm interested before I come down. How many people have ever heard that? And I say, whoa, I really can't do that. It's kind of a visual. You got to be there to see the whole thing at one time, so it makes sense. So when you get down there, then you'll find out what it's all about. And you know what? I listened to 2 tapes this morning. I read 2 books. I am totally motivated. I'm totally focused. But I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm not getting through to you. So I'd better go for the heavy guns. I'm going to go for the guilt approach. Oh yeah. So I say to you, well, I know you don't want to come down, but you owe it to me. We've been friends for 15 years. When you hurt your back last winter, I shoveled your sidewalk. When your daughter needed that kidney, I gave her 2. You owe it to me. Come on down. Now what are you going to do? You're thinking, oh man, I really don't want to go down there, but I don't want to get those kidneys back, so I got to think of some excuse. So, I tell you what, I'd really like to come down. Sounds great, but you know what? Unfortunately, I won't be able to get down there tonight because my car broke down. By the time I take the bus home and everything, I just won't be able to get turned around in time to get there in time for the meeting. And the new distributor says, no problem, I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up around 6:30. We'll be there by 7. A good seat, get a good seat. The meeting starts at 7:30, which is 8:30 in MLM time. It only lasts for 1 hour until about 10 o'clock, at which time 5 people are going to gang up on you and try to sell you something. We'll leave by 10:30, be home by 11. Only 4.5 hours out of your life. Come on down. And you know what you're going to say? You're going to say, sounds great, man. It sounds so great, so awesome. That's fantastic. Tell you what. It sounds so great. Don't bother picking me up. I'll meet you down there. I'll catch a ride down there myself. Then what happens? They never show up. Now, how many people here think that this scenario sounds just a little bit familiar? Now, you probably agree with me. It's what we say and what we do that makes a difference. That's why we only get 1 or 2 out of 10 people, maybe 3 out of 10 people if we're lucky, to listen, to show up for our presentations. But we can change that all by learning the simple skills that I'm sharing with you tonight. And as you know, all these skills that I'm sharing with you, I've mentioned it before. I get a lot of my information from a gentleman named Big Al and from some of his books. So that's where this skill came from, is from Big Al. And you know, if you ever want to read more in depth in his books or get some of his CDs, then his website's fortunenow.com, and I encourage you to go there. But what we're going to learn tonight is a skill that he teaches that gets nearly 100% of the people that you talk to give you an appointment for a presentation. And he does it with just 2 sentences. How many here would like to learn those 2 sentences? Okay, well, here they are. The first sentence goes like this. Now hold your skepticism until you see the both 2 sentences in their entirety. I know everybody's skeptical, but just hold that until we see these in your entirety here. The first sentence goes like this. I can give you a complete presentation, comma, but it would take an entire minute, period. The next sentence goes like this. When could you set aside a whole minute? Question mark. Everybody got that? Okay, here's the 2 sentences. Let's put them to work. We're standing by the coffee machine at work. We've been there 3 or 4 hours sipping coffee, and I say to you, boy, do I have a presentation for you. Or, I'm sorry, boy, do I have an opportunity for you. Now, that's not exactly the best opening, but I'm a new guy in the business, and that's the way I start out. So, boy, do I have an opportunity for you. And you think, oh, no. I say, well, stop. Don't worry. Don't panic. It's okay. Let me get my notes. I can give you a complete presentation, but it would take an entire minute. When can you set aside a whole minute? And what are you going to say? Well, now, right now. Almost 100% of the cases, we're going to say, how about right now? Why do we do that? We do that to get it over with. Tell me how. Tell me now, so that I don't have to go to an opportunity meeting. We say, tell me now so I can get it over with. Tell me now so I don't have to go to an opportunity meeting. Or maybe just curiosity, because I'm kind of curious. What's this all about? I can find out in 1 minute and have it over with. Why else? It's only 1 minute. I can keep my sales resistance up for a whole minute. Or please give me the presentation now, because I don't want you calling me back later at the house and asking for an appointment. Let's do it now, all in 1 minute. There's no time for salesmanship or hype or any of that other junk. Just barely enough time for a few facts, and I can say yes or no and ask a question or 2, and then it's going to be over with. So how many people here think that almost 100% of the cases, most people are going to say, how about right now? Just from those 2 simple sentences. You know, and it works over the phone as well. So let's try this. Somebody calls you up and says, hey, I just saw your ad, or your business card, or your brochure, or your flyer, or whatever it is that you left behind somewhere. They say, hey, I just saw your brochure. Tell me a little bit about your business. Now, right off the bat, there's some salesman resistance up for those people, because they're calling on that, but they're expecting to get a nice long sales presentation. But you say, well, just a minute, let me grab my notes. and you say to the caller, I can give you a complete presentation, comma, but it would take an entire minute, period. When can you set aside a whole minute? Question mark. What might the caller say? Well, right now. Excellent. The last person I called, it was 45 minutes, and I still didn't even learn the name of the company. So the attitude of the caller changes a little bit, and you catch them a little bit off guard. And so instead of that sales resistance, they're going to say, hey, excellent, 1 minute, go for it. A whole different attitude. Now, how many people here think that you can teach this skill to your downline in 3 or 4 months? How many people now believe it's possible to get an appointment with someone with just 2 simple sentences? Well, it's easy. So we're still skeptical, though, but because we still don't know what the 1 minute presentation is. But how many people here think that your aunt, your neighbor, somebody like that can say this and be comfortable and be within their comfort zone and get people to ask for that presentation? Well, I know what you're probably thinking. The skill is probably the greatest skill of all time in history of the Western civilization. It's going to change the world as we know it. It's the most fantastic thing ever since sliced bread and 7-Up. I just can't believe how awesome it is, and I can see that, wow, this is so great. It's going to change my business forever. I'm going to have tons and tons of appointments, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this all week. I'm going to be talking to people, and instead of looking for people to talk to, I'm going to be getting appointments for presentations. It's so wonderful that I just have one little flaw. How am I going to get my entire presentation down to 1 minute? Well, look at the bright side. I got you halfway there. So what skill would you like to learn next? Would you like to learn how to get the presentation down to 1 minute? So let's learn the skill of a 1 minute presentation. By the way, how many of you out there believe that we can actually get our presentation down to just 1 minute? Well, the reason why we don't believe we can, the reason why we're skeptical is we don't really know the skill. So I want to get started with a 1 minute presentation. Now, first, let me describe what I mean by a 1 minute presentation. I don't mean an infomercial. I don't mean a teaser. I don't mean something to get an appointment for later. What I mean is a complete 1 minute presentation, a complete, entire, beginning to end, whole presentation with all the facts that a prospect needs to know in order to make an intelligent or two. That's what I mean by a 1 minute presentation. It's not some gimmick. It's not something for an appointment for later. It's everything in 1 minute. All the facts that you need to know to make an intelligent decision to join or not. So let's just get started with this. We're obliged to our prospects. We have a responsibility to give them all the information they need to know to make an intelligent decision, to say yes, to say no, or maybe you have a question or two. That's our obligation, because we don't want a prospect coming back to us later and saying, hey, if you would have told me everything, I would have joined. I wasted 2 years. That's our obligation. Our obligation stops there. We're not responsible for our prospect's decision. Remember, not responsible for the spouse they chose. We're not responsible for the job they chose. We're not responsible if they want to do our business or not. But we are responsible to give them the facts, and then the rest is up to them. They know what's going on in their life. So, what we have to do is give them all the facts that they need to make an intelligent decision to join or not. So what are we going to do? Well, Big Al went out and tested this in the field, and he said that people are busy now. You know, they've got their email and pagers and their cell phones. They don't have much time, and most people say, just give me the bottom line. Just tell me the short version. If you watch a music video today, how long does the scene last in a music video? It's 1 second. It used to be 2 seconds, but on average now, it's 1 second, then it flips to the next scene. When people go to the internet and surf the internet, how long do they stay on a page? Not very long at all. They're in and out, and they're gone. So consider this. You walk up to your door. I'm wearing a little salesman hat. It says salesman right across the top. I knock on your door, and I say this. I can give you a presentation. I can give you a long presentation, or I can give you a short presentation. Which one would you prefer? Of course, what are you going to say? You're going to say the short presentation. If you call me on the phone and say, tell me a little bit about your business, I say, I can give you a long presentation or I can give you a short presentation. Which would you prefer? Of course, we're always going to say the short presentation. So how many people here are kind of getting the trend there? It's not like it was back in the 1900s. Back in the 1900s, like 1998, 1999, people had a lot more time then than they do now. They would sit down for a presentation, but it's not that way anymore. They just answer their cell phone all day long, and roughly, and that's what they do for a living. On that daggone cell phone constantly, texting, on the phone, talking, whatever. Well, he decided that, hey, what he needed to do was get his whole presentation down to a minute so it would fit within people's time, within people's attention span. He had miserable time. He had awful results. He failed. He just couldn't do it until about 7 months into it, he hit the key. And the key is to find out what people need to know to make an intelligent decision. Whether it be a banker, whether it be a young mom with kids, whether it be a salesperson, they all need to know the same things to make an intelligent decision, whether to join or not. So he found out what those things were, and this is the key, the big breakthrough. Was all they needed to know was the answer to 3 questions, and they would have all the facts they needed to make an intelligent decision to join or not. So how many people here think that that's pretty neat? So after 7 months and he cracked it, what he discovered, those 3 questions are, these are actually the same 3 questions that you would ask if you're looking at a business opportunity of really just about any type. Number one, the number one question you're going to ask is, what kind of business is it? What kind of business is it that you're in? And that's a fair question. In other words, are you in agriculture? Are you in real estate? Are you in nutrition? Are you in car racing, in sports, medicine, insurance? What kind of business is it? If you're looking for a business opportunity that you're looking to join, would you join a business opportunity if you didn't know what type of business it was in the first place? Now, of course, we always say no. So what if you look into a business opportunity and you're kind of confused? You're really not quite sure what kind of business it is. What's that going to cause you to say? It's going to cause you to say no. Confused mind always says no. So the number one thing that everybody wanted to know is, what kind of business are you in? Number two, and I think you would ask this question too if you were looking into a business opportunity, how much money can I make? That sounds like a fair question. Would you ask that if you were looking at a franchise or something? Of course you are. You're going to ask, what kind of money can I make? And certainly number three, remember, we all have to do is answer these 3 questions and we're done. So question number 3 is this: what do I have to do to earn that money? What do I have to do to earn that money? In other words, do I have to have a Tupperware party in my living room? Do I have to be a one-eyed bungee jumping skydiver? Do I have to have a degree in sports medicine? Do I need a PhD in chemistry? Do I have to have a certain athletic ability? What do I have to do to earn that money? And that's what you have to be able to answer. Now, most people are saying, well, if what I have to do is going to be embarrassing me or something I can't do, I just don't want to join. So all you do is answer these 3 questions. Question number 1 is, what kind of business is it? Question number 2 is, how much money can I make? And question number 3 is, what do I have to do? So when we answer those 3 questions, then we're really done with our business presentation. They have all the facts they need to make an intelligent decision to join or not. And that's pretty neat. So you're probably thinking, oh, wait a minute. Maybe my presentation currently is a little bit too long. It's a little bit longer than a minute. So how many people here have a presentation now that they give, but it's much longer than a minute? Of course, all of us. If you have a presentation that's longer than a minute, then here's how you're going to fix it. You're going to fix it 2 ways. Number 1, you can either learn to talk really, really fast, but since I'm from the South, that's not something that's going to happen here. So number 2, and the way we're going to use today is we're going to take the stuff out of our presentation to get it down to a minute. We just simply are going to take stuff out. So let's look at some of the stuff that you can take out of our current presentation. I'd venture to say that most of the things that you talk about in the current presentation could be saved later for training. Because if they're not going to join, do they need all that stuff in the first place? And if they are going to join, they can learn it all in training. So the problem is most of us have misplaced a lot of our training materials and mistakenly put it into our presentation. So we need to get it back to where it belongs. So remember, if they're not going to join, they don't need to know, and if they are going to join, they can learn it later in training. Let's take a look at some of the things that we can take out of our current presentation to get our presentation down to 1 minute. Let's talk about the company. What are some of the things about the company that you could take out of your presentation and save it for training? You can probably take out the name of the officers, the profit and loss statement, the distributor count, every article ever written about the company. You don't have to read that. You don't have to show the picture of the corporate office. You could save these things later on for the training, because if they're not going to join, they don't need to know that stuff in the first place. And if they are going to join, they can learn it later. So now if we took all that stuff out, would our presentation be back down to less than a minute? Well, no, because there's still more stuff we need to get rid of. If you talk about your products, what could you take out there? Well, you could take out the name of that rock in China that the herb was grown underneath, that was picked at midnight by leprechauns. You could probably take out the names of all the exotic ingredients in the skincare product. You can take out the 650 testimonials that you insist on telling people about. You can take out the 44-page research report from Oxford University that you normally read to them. You can take out the type of manufacturing processes. You can take out all this stuff and leave it for later in training, because if they're not going to join, do they need to know all that? If they are going to join, they can learn it later in training. So, would that save us a bunch of time? Well, yeah, absolutely. So now we've cleared up a whole bunch of time, but we can still do one more thing. Let's talk about the compensation plan. How many people on this call actually understand our compensation plan and actually understood it the first time you heard it? Well, most of us are in this business for more than a year and still don't understand a compensation plan. So we can take all that information out and save that later for training. Because if they're not going to join, they don't need to know that. And if they're going to join, then they can learn that later on in training, where all the compensation plan gurus get together and discuss, all those different percentages. Well, if we take all those things out, we can get our whole presentation down to a minute, and we can answer all 3 questions in a minute and be done. So how many people here think that we can change that could change your entire business if you can get it down to 1 minute like that? All you have to do is answer 3 questions. Number 1 is what business are we in? Number 2, how can we make money? And number 3, what do we have to do? And we're done. Answer those 3 questions and you'll be done. So I'm going to do this in a very generic example the first time here, and then we'll get some more specific examples as we go on. Some ideas that works best, for your personality, you'll be able to develop on this as you go on. So just for demonstrations purposes only, I'm going to do a quick example of a 1-minute presentation. I'll answer all 3 questions in 10 seconds and then take a 50-second coffee break. Now, if I can do it in 10 seconds, do you think you can do a presentation in a whole minute? I think you can. So I'm going to answer all 3 of your questions in 10 seconds. You'll have all the facts you need to know to make an intelligent decision to say, yes, I'd like to join, or no, I don't want to, or maybe I have a question or 2. Fair enough? Okay? All words, 10 seconds. Everybody ready? We're in the gangster business. You can earn $100,000 a year, and all you have to do is shoot people. What do you think? That was about 8 seconds. A little bit fast. Well, I did answer all 3 questions. I mentioned what business we're in. I mentioned how much money you can make, and I told you what you had to do to earn that money. How many people here have enough facts to make an intelligent decision to say yes, no, or maybe have a few questions? You see, you didn't have to come all the way down to an opportunity meeting to learn that. You knew right away in advance whether you wanted to join the business or not. You didn't have to come down to a 3-hour opportunity meeting on the history of being a gangster and how the gangster name came on board, how many people you have to shoot up to to, get to the different levels, and you didn't have to do that. You knew right away in 10 seconds if you wanted to join or not. It's not, if it's not done right, if it's done right, rather, you can say yes, no, or maybe have a question or two. How many people would agree with me that you had all the facts that you needed to know on that? So you say, what do you do next? You listen to their answers. So let's say I gave you the 1-minute presentation, and at the end of the presentation you said, yep, sounds pretty good. The rest of my family does it, why not me? And I say, how do I get started? So what are you going to do then? You're going to help them get started. You're not going to continue with the presentation and go into all those facts. You're going to help them get started. You're going to say, well, to get started, all you have to do is come to this meeting Tuesday night, where we'll have a little gangster meeting down at the hotel. Come on down, pick up your gangster kit to get started. Meet some other people, see how many people they shot this week, see how far you think you can get in the company, or maybe if you're in a hurry, we can just log in online here at gangster.com, fill out your application, and you'll get your kit in the mail. Or I'm really not sure, so let's call my upline sponsor and he can walk us through it so you can get started right away. It's no big deal. Or you might have said no to the presentation, right? So at the end of the presentation, your prospect says, no, it's not for me. Here's what I would say. Hey, great, let's go to the movie, let's go shopping. It's done, it's over with. You already know right away whether you want to join or not. Now, you're an adult, you made up your mind, I've done my obligation, I don't have to pester you in the future, it's over with. And that's pretty refreshing. So, that way you won't be alienating your friends. You've given them the 1-minute presentation, they've made up their mind, and everybody can go on in their life. Or maybe they have a question or two. What do you do then? Well, you answer the question. So at the end of the presentation, they might say, well, it sounds pretty good, but do I really have to shoot people, or can I use a knife instead? And I say, well, yeah, you can use a knife, so what do you think? And you're done. I wish I can see the shocked looks on people's faces when they hear this story. You're thinking, whoa, I don't have to give a 20-minute, 30-minute, 3-hour presentation. I can get the whole story down in 1 minute and get on with it. And that's excellent. It would be wonderful over the phone, too. Wonderful to give a presentation like this to somebody before you meet them for a cup of coffee. Because now when they say yes, you know they're going to show up for that cup of coffee to talk about it further. Would you have liked this type of presentation yourself if someone had done that way back in the beginning when you started in a business? To have a presentation where they just answer those 3 questions right off the bat and you can get started right away. I want you to think about it. We'd all love to receive a 1-minute presentation. But you're thinking, okay, for that gangster business I was mentioning, but what about our business here in longevity? Of course, we're not gangsters. So can I use this for my business? Would you like some examples of 1-minute presentations we can use with longevity? I'll give you some examples. Here's a quick example. Now, don't take any notes. You're not going to miss a thing, and trust me, you won't miss a single thing here. I'll just give you a couple examples to give you a feel for it. Then I'll give you the step-by-step, exact word-for-word template to use, and all you have to do is fill in the blanks to match your personality. Just sit back and relax. You're not going to miss a single thing here. Just want you to be thinking, if I heard this, would I have enough information to make an intelligent decision to say yes, no, or maybe I have a question or two? Everybody relaxed? Let's do one for our minimal makeup skincare program. If you'd like to earn an extra $500 per month, you need to be able to do these 3 things. Number 1, don't change anything you do. Continue to recommend and promote things just like you always have, like your favorite CDs, restaurant, your favorite movies. Just recommend and promote things like you always have. Don't change. Number 2, we're in the skincare business. We have this wonderful mineral makeup that makes your skin look 20 years younger without all the dangerous chemicals that are found in other makeups that you buy at the cosmetic counter. Number 3, all you have to do is host some makeup parties so your friends can try the makeup too. Eventually you find 4 others that want to earn an extra income as well, and you make an extra $500 per month. So, did we say what kind of business we're in? Did we say how much money you can make? Did we say what you have to do to earn that money? How many people here have enough facts to make an intelligent decision to say yes, no, or maybe I have a question or two? Let's do one for nutrition. If you'd like to earn an extra $3,000 per month, you need to be able to do these four things. Number one, don't change anything you do. Continue to recommend and promote things just like you always have, like your favorite babysitter or a restaurant or your favorite movie. Just recommend and promote things like you always have. Don't change. Number two, we're in the health and nutrition business. We have this wonderful supplement program that makes you feel like you did when you were younger, healthier, more vibrant, thinner, more energy. You wake up every morning feeling like $1,000,000. Number three, sometime in your lifetime, you have to find 4 people who feel the same way about this that you do, that want to earn a full-time income or a really good part-time income. Now, you don't have to find all 4 people right away. Just pace yourself, 1 a week, 1 a month, 1 a decade. But sometime in your life, you've got to find 4 people to feel like you. They want to help people feel better and make some extra money. And number 4, between you and everybody you talk to, and everybody they talk to, and everybody they talk to, forever and ever and ever, you eventually accumulate about 250 people that are ordering their products every month, and you'll earn an extra $3,000 per month. Did we say what kind of business we're in? Did we say how much money you can make? Did we say what you have to do to earn that money? How many people have enough facts to make an intelligent decision to say yes, no, or maybe I have a question or two? So let's work and write down the template you use that you can create your own 1-minute presentation so you know what to say and what to do. You start off by saying these words. If you would like to earn an extra $500 a month, comma, you need to do these 3 things, period. Number 1, don't change. Write down the words, don't change. Now sit your pen down for a minute. Relax a moment. Let's talk about this. Why are these presentations so powerful? Why are we able to understand everything right away? Why are they so efficient? Why do people get it? Well, let's take a look. We start off with don't change. We're not asking people to join network marketing. They already have. Remember, everybody does network marketing every day, but they just don't get paid for it. Everybody recommends and promotes, don't they? Since everybody already recommends and promotes, don't change. People think, wait a minute, I don't have to change? Don't they feel a lot better about this business then? How do people feel about change? They hate it. So we start off with don't change. Is there a big difference in their attitude? I want you to think about that caller that calls up and says, I found your brochure, tell me about your business. They have a little sales resistance like we mentioned before. So you say, I can give you that complete presentation, but it'll take under a minute. When can you have a whole minute? Now what's happening to the caller is the caller's more relaxed. They're thinking, all right, now I don't have to listen to long sales pitch. Then you start off the presentation with don't change. They're thinking, all right, I don't have to change. It's a lot different than all the folded up arms and grumpy faces and sales resistance that you normally experience. If you want to think about this, most of us have heard presentations that started off something like this. In order for you to be successful in our business, the first thing you need to do is change. Yeah, you have to change your attitude, change your belief, change your thinking, change your family, change your friends, change what you do on weekends, change what you do on weeknights. You have to change. Well, how well does that sell? How many people here have heard a presentation where they're asking you to change? I certainly have. But when you start off with don't change, everything changes in the presentation. It's much more pleasant. You think, well, my aunt can do this, my niece can do this, my coworker can do this. If I don't have to change, hey, excellent. All of a sudden there's a big relief that they could do this business, a big belief in that, because people have a comfort zone. Ever ask yourself this question, why do people have a comfort zone? Because they're comfortable there. When you ask people to leave their comfort zones, they're uncomfortable. They resist it. So see, if you pick up on this flaw in most presentations, well, Mr. Prospect, the first thing you need to do is get out of your comfort zone. You need to get out an easel and stand up in front of a room, get rejected over the phone, meet strangers on the street, get out of your comfort zone. Anybody pick up the flaw there? You're uncomfortable. They're going to resist it. So if we can start off our presentation with don't change, all of a sudden the prospect is thinking, hey, Here's an opportunity that I can take advantage of. So number 2, write down these words. Describe your business. Remember, if you don't describe your business clearly, they're going to say no. A confused mind always says no. If they don't know what kind of business that you're in, they're going to say no. So how are we going to describe our business? We only have 1 minute. We have to be very efficient. We don't want to cheat the prospect. So in 1 minute's time, we have to tell them about our business so they understand it. So how would this sound as a description? We're in the global enhancement of building entrepreneurship through time freedom, financial freedom, by leveraging your efforts, creating a generational type income and multiple streams of income through. What's all that? How many people you know that would join a business like that? Would you join? Of course not. What I did is I picked up all the different jargon and cliches and buzzwords that I've ever heard in opportunity meetings. I just kind of strung them all together there and stuck them in the description. Of course, nobody's going to join that. Those buzzwords and jargon mean nothing to them. So if someone comes up and says, we're in the skincare business, what's that? Does it mean we make yellow latex-free gloves to protect our skin? Do you make those little bandages for kids' knees? They don't know what you mean when you say you're in the skincare business. So that's why we have to follow it up with, we're in the skincare business, which means we have this wonderful mineral makeup that makes your skin look 20 years younger without all the dangerous chemicals that are found in other makeups that you buy at the cosmetic counter. Or how about this one? We're in the health and wellness business. What's that? Does that mean you change bedpans at the local nursing home? Are you a dietitian for the local hospital? We don't know. So we have to say that we're in the health and wellness business, which means we make a wonderful supplement that makes you feel like you're 16 years old again, but with better judgment. You have to give people something they understand. We have to describe our business so people get it. So let's move on. Step number 3. We have to tell people how to earn the money. So at this point in the prospect's mind, do they really want to know every position in the company's compensation plan? No. Do they really want to know every bonus in the bonus scale? No. All they want to know is generally, what do they have to do to earn that money? See, if it's disgusting to me or tasteful to me or whatever, it's going to be ridiculous. Let's find out. Let's find out a little bit more about this. All you have to do is see if this description is a little bit better. All you have to do is find 6 or 7 families like you that want to wake up every morning feeling like $1 million and have better nutrition for their kids. Or maybe you can say, all you have to do is sometime in your lifetime find 4 people that want to earn an extra $750 per month, then you'll make $3,000 per month. And number 3, all you have to do is get about 3 or 4 people that want to make a couple hundred extra dollars per month. Then you would earn an extra $500 per month. What do you think? Did we say what kind of business we're in our presentation? Did we say how much money we can make? Did you say what you have to do to earn the income? How many people here with that information have enough facts to make an intelligent decision to say yes, no, or maybe I have a question or two? It's pretty clear. You don't need a whole opportunity meeting for this. Now, the next step that we need to do to wrap it all up, to wrap up the presentation goes something like this. And let's see, let me think how to start this. Hang on a second. Okay, let's say we're finishing up the presentation. We say, and then you would earn an extra $500 per month. Everybody got that? Okay, now it's time for the close. How many people here are a little bit uncomfortable with closing? We're uncomfortable closing for a couple of reasons. First is, how many people here have ever talked and talked and talked and talked and talked just hoping that your prospect would volunteer to close? Sounds familiar. Most of us have done that. And the reason we do that is we're thinking, if I ask them to join or buy right now, they might say no and I'll feel rejected. And what if I left something out or I didn't put something in that's really going to make a difference for them? Well, that's the problem. That problem's going to go away just because we have some simple closes that we can use here. I'm going to share 3 questions with you that you can use for close. So forget about that problem. Here's another reason why we don't like to close. We don't like to sound like sleazy salespeople, trying to close like a sleazy salesman, trying to manipulate people to say things that they don't want. Any 3-year-old can see this as a good opportunity. Do you have a problem with that? Or don't you love your family? Or when you try, how am I going to say that? Let me rephrase that. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. Or, some sleazy salespeople say, or don't you love your family? They use those high pressure things and guilt to try to close. And when you try to manipulate and force people, it's not really being fair to them. So what you really want to do is give them a choice, and then the rest is up to them. So here's some simple closes that you can use that you're going to find comfortable. The first close is, and we start off with the word well, W-E-L-L, comma, what do you think? Question mark. Well, what do you think? So why do we ask that question? Yeah, I want to know what they think. Otherwise, we'd ask a different question. They're adults. They can make up their mind. You ask, what do you think? And you shut up, and they're going to tell you. That seems fair enough. Would you like to be treated like that as adults? Well, what do you think? And you might say, I'd be bored doing that close all the time, so what other types of closes are there? Well, here's a second one. And, A-N-D, that's it, period. That's not very high pressure, is it? And that's it. Here's another close that you can use. And the rest is up to you, period. Nothing high pressure. That's the 3 closes that you can use that are very low pressure that will get the person to ask a question, answer whether they want to join, no, they don't want to join, or to ask some questions. I might start off by saying, if you like to earn an extra $250 per month, then you need to be able to do what? These 3 things. Number 1, continue to recommend and promote things just like you always have, like your favorite person for your lawn care, or a good CD of music, or maybe your favorite TV show. Just recommend and promote things like you always have. Number 2, we're in the nutrition business, and we sell these wonderful supplements that help build your immune system and support and promote better health. So when everybody else at work has the cold and flu, you can laugh in their face, and your kids always have to go to school because they're never sick. And number 3, all you have to do is pass out these CDs, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, that explain how these supplements work, and eventually accumulate about 7 or 8 families that say they want to be healthy and don't want to worry about colds and flus ever again. Then you'll earn that extra $250 a month. What do you think? Let's do one on sports drinks. If you like to earn an extra $2,000 per month, you need to be able to do these 3 things. Number 1, continue recommending things just like you always have. Your favorite sports team, your favorite car, favorite brand of beer. Just recommend the things that you always have, the things that you like. Number 2, we're in the sports nutrition business, which means we show people how to reduce sports injuries and improve performance by replacing everything they sweat out with our Healthy Body Athletic Pack. And number 3, all you have to do is loan people this CD, Dead Athletes Don't Lie, then find 4 other people that want to make about $500 a month by showing people how to reduce sports injuries and improve performance. Then you would earn an extra $2,000 per month. That's it. Did we say what kind of business we're in? Did we say how much money you can make? What you have to do for the money? How many people here have enough facts to make an intelligent decision to say yes, no, or I have maybe a question or 2? This isn't too hard. Once you do this a few times, it gets easier. Here's some interesting things about a 1-minute presentation. Don't be shy about trying them out because, well, look at it this way. If you give a 1-minute presentation, what's your prospect going to be thinking at the end of the 1 minute? I can do that. If that's all there is, I can do that standing up there at the bar. I can do that standing in line at the store. In 1 minute, I can tell the whole story to somebody. I don't need a flip chart, a video. I don't need anything. I mean, I can just do that. It's very normal, non-confrontational. When I pick up my kids from school, I could talk to somebody else picking up their kids at school. 1 minute, the whole thing? Isn't that what you want your people to think that they can do? How many people ever had this happen? You're standing in a line somewhere and somebody asks what you do for a living. Now you're thinking, where do I start? Do I pass out a business card? Do I pull out a CD? Do I talk about the product? Do I call my sponsor? What do I do? But now, in 1 complete minute, you can tell them the entire story. What a relief. Now, what if somebody, the prospect you give a 1 minute presentation to, and it's absolutely terrible presentation. It's a bad presentation. It's an awful 1 minute presentation. Look at it this way. It's over in 60 seconds. Something else, a really bad 1 minute presentation is always better than a great 30-minute presentation. And if your presentation is unbelievably awful, and you know right off the bat what the prospect's thinking, I'm going to make a fortune. Look at you. How many people here got at least one good idea from these 1 minute presentations? How many of you guys are thinking that they can set up an appointment with almost 100% of the people that they talk to? How many people here think they can give a complete presentation in just 1 minute? Anybody can do this. Even my newest distributor can do this. It takes about 30 minutes to learn the whole thing. You just give them a few ideas, have them experience it with you, maybe put them on a call with you and let them hear you give a 1 minute presentation over the phone next time. Just want you to think about this. How many of you have ever sent somebody some literature in the mail, like a CD or DVD or a brochure? Now, we see who really, when you're spending this money passing out these CDs and everything, people really think they're really in this network marketing thing and really doing this for a living, but they're spending a lot of money passing that information out. I want you to take a look at this. If you talk to somebody over the phone and you give them a 1 minute presentation and they say, no, it's not for me, are you going to send them literature then? If you talk to somebody over the phone and you give them a 1 minute presentation and they said, yes, I'd like to join, are you going to send them some literature? No, they're going to get a sales kit in the mail. If you talk to somebody over the phone and you give them a 1 minute presentation, they have a question or two, are you going to answer the question? Does the literature cost you money? Is the postage free? What conclusion can you make? You're going to save a fortune on literature. I can't think of hardly a single reason that you're going to actually send out literature unless maybe it's a nerdy engineer that likes to see what kind of typeface the literature is printed in. So we could save a fortune on literature, because when you send people literature, it's really pretty rude. One of the rudest things you can do. I want you to think about it this way. You get a pack of literature in the mail. You get a video to watch, a catalog to leaf through, a brochure, maybe some testimonials, maybe a sales letter. And you think, man, I've got to wade through all this stuff just to find the answer to my 3 basic questions. And what if I go through all this stuff and I can only find the answer to 2 of them? You know what's even worse? I don't even know what the 3 basic questions are. I'm just a prospect. So it just seems to be impolite to send people a bunch of literature when you can answer the 3 questions over the phone. And just think about this. How many people are actually read the literature? How often have you sent somebody the information out, sent them a tape, loaned them a video, asked them to go to a website, and then you call them back and they haven't done it? It happens all the time. The information is just overwhelming and they don't even know where to start. But if you do a 1 minute presentation like this, if you'd like to earn an extra $5,000 a month, we need to be able to do these 4 things. Number 1, don't change. Continue recommending and promoting the things just like you always have, like your favorite sports team, your favorite style or fashion, or your favorite book to read. Number 2, we're in the weight loss business, which means we have a wonderful weight loss program where you can lose anywhere from a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. Number 3, all you have to do is sometime in your lifetime find 4 people who feel the same way you do about business, the same way as you do. They want to have a full-time income or a really good part-time income. You don't have to find all 4 people right away, just sometime in your life yourself. Pace yourself. One a year, 1 a month, whatever. And why do I say this? Well, for $100 a month, you probably could retail the products. For $500 a month, you can maybe retail it and get a few distributors. but you couldn't possibly babysit enough distributors to earn $5,000 a month. So you're going to need to get some leaders. You need to find leaders. So what we just finished doing in that presentation there is telling our prospect that they need to find 4 leaders. But it would be unfair to tell them to find 4 leaders because they don't even know what a leader is. So to be perfectly fair, what we're going to do is describe it in a way that they understand by saying they need to find 4 people to feel the same way that they do, that they want to have a full-time income or really good part-time income. Now, do they have to find all 4 people right away? No. Sometimes in their lifetime. Once a month, once a year, once a decade, it's their choice. By the way, if you have 4 leaders in your downline, 4 leaders in your downline, how many people here think they can actually earn $5,000 a month? Number 4, I use number 4 because in our business that's what actually works. But you also continue on that between you and everybody you talk to and everybody they talk to and everybody that they ever talk to forever and ever, eventually you accumulate about 450 people in your organization that want to lose weight and keep it off forever. And now you'll earn about $5,000 per month. Now what we did is we just told them that they're going to need about 450 people that are distributors or product users. It's a great way of explaining network marketing without using all the jargon, without using all the lingo, upline, downline, crossline, sponsor, distributor, all that. You're not going to use words like generation and enroller. You're not going to use those kind of words in your presentation because they don't really understand that stuff in the first place. We're just going to keep it simple. And then we're going to just finish off by saying, and then you earn that $5,000 per month. Now, how many people here think if you give somebody a 1-minute presentation in person or even over the phone, that they're more likely to get on your conference call later, or more likely to come to your business presentation meeting, or they're more likely to listen to or watch a DVD that you send them? During that conference call, guess what's going to happen in their head? They're not listening like an ordinary prospect, like where's the catch or what's going to happen, because you've already answered the questions for them. They're not going to be thinking, how long is this meeting going to be? When's this going to be over? They're thinking like it's a training call. Man, I can use this stuff in my presentation. Work the same for opportunity meetings, of course. So when you give people a 1-minute presentation, it's kind of a polite way to let them know the whole story. Then they go to the opportunity meeting, and it's really like a training session to them, just like getting on a conference call, a training session. I want to point out that there's a lot more things about a 1-minute presentation, but the big thing that you're going to notice is your entire experience is going to change. Problems you had in the past are going to magically disappear. So how do you get people to come to an opportunity meeting and listen to the opportunity meeting? You have to start off with that 1-minute presentation. Get them to say yes, and then they're ready to see the presentation meeting. They're ready to go to the opportunity meeting. You're going to have more people show up than you did the other way, where you're just inviting them directly to the meeting. So how do you handle it when people say, I just don't have time to do the business? Well, it doesn't happen. I mean, if you did the whole business presentation in 1 minute, how can they say I don't have time to do the business? So a lot of the questions and objections you used to hear aren't going to happen. Most objections are really phony excuses in the first place, but they're designed to prevent people from having to go to a business presentation meeting. How do you handle the objection when people say this is a pyramid or some other objection like that? Well, it doesn't happen because you're saying that you, in your entire 1-minute presentation, you're already saying that they don't have to change, that they already do this. And can we see all the massive change in our business? Just wait till you try this. I've got people in my organization that are actually given this 1-minute presentation, and then three-way-in the clients, the prospects, into me. So it's getting them a higher percentage of people actually taking the next step, because they've already answered the 3 basic questions that people want to know. What kind of business is it? How much money can I make? And what do I have to do? They already know coming in when they talk to me, when they're three-wayed into me, they already have answered those questions there that yes, and they want to take things to the next level. So the 1 minute presentation is a fantastic tool to use to get people to get more information and to get them signed up. You're already eliminating the basic objections people have, and most people will they'll want to hear your 1 minute presentation. When you start off with the questions like I did at the beginning, they'll want to hear that 1 minute presentation, and then they're going to go to the next step and get the additional information. Of course, some people are going to say no after that 1 minute presentation, but that's okay. You've given them the presentation. They know what you're doing for a business. They know what they got to do to make money. They choose not to do it. Big deal. You don't want to alienate them. You just move on. But you're getting through a lot more people quicker because you're getting those questions answered, and you're getting to the yes or to the no much quicker. You're not wasting your time talking to a bunch of people that really have no interest whatsoever, and are just being polite by saying, yeah, they'll listen to the tape, or they'll listen to the CD, or they'll come to the meeting, or whatever. By giving them the opportunity with the 1 minute presentation to say yes, no, or maybe, you're sorting through the people much more quicker, and you're getting much higher qualified people to go to that next step, the three-way call, the business presentation meeting, the opportunity meeting, whatever it happens to be. They're more likely to show up, they're more likely to watch the tape, they're more likely to watch the video, they're more likely to attend the meeting than the other way around, where you're just basically shooting in the dark and inviting people and hoping that they show up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off there tonight. So I want you to take your time with this and to think it over. Think about what I said about the 1 minute presentation. It's a very powerful skill. And I ask you too that if you found value in what I've shared with you, then go to my blog, Aim High with Keith, and subscribe there. It's aimhighwithkeith.com, and subscribe there and get on my mailing list so I can send you more information as time goes on. Like I said, it's a very powerful presentation to learn the 1 minute presentation, and it really has made a difference in my downline. And Brandy can attest to the fact that my downline is growing again, and it had stalled out for quite a while. And by just changing some of these little things like this, it's made all the difference in the world. Anybody have any questions? Well, I hope people got some benefit from it.